Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a Q&A video because I've never done one, I'm pretty sure. So I thought that would be really fun to do. Also because of my living situation at the moment, I'm not in London as much. That'll be changing soon. So I didn't have like a vlog or anything ready to put up, and I just thought, why not see what you would want to ask me? So I did. I asked on Twitter and actually got a really good amount of replies, so thank you very much. Sorry, I'm just going through them now. The first question is from an account called Late for the Overture. I don't actually know your name, I'm really sorry. I probably do, but I don't because you don't have it on here. Please let me know. That's a question I'm asking you because I always like to know people's names, and sometimes obviously they're different from Twitter accounts. Like, you can message me on Twitter or something. I'm just curious. I like to know people's actual names. Anyway, on with the question. There's a few questions. The first one is favourite old musical, and off the top of my head I'm going to say Singing in the Rain. I prefer the actual musical version rather than the film version because I just have so many great memories of seeing it on stage, and the whole experience of it I think was just incredible to watch Singing in the Rain on stage in the West End as a show. So that immediately would be what I'd say. There's probably a couple of other answers, but that's like my lightning round answer. The next question is what musical I would want a revival of. What revival would I want? That's a really good question. Mainly because I can't think of an answer. Because I feel like I'm still quite a new musical theatre fan. Like, I've only been going to the theatre consistently for the last 5 years, which does sound like quite a long time, but I feel like any of the shows in recent years that I've seen that I would want to come back to the West End, it's still potentially a little bit too soon. I don't feel like there's a show off the top of my head anyway that I'm like, no, it's an old show and I'm desperate for it to come back. So I guess I'm okay at the moment. Sorry, that's a crap answer, but that's my answer. The next question is my favourite musical that was short-lived. And this is a great question, and one that I kind of think about a lot because I feel like we're really lucky in London that for most shows they get a decently long run. Like, you hear obviously stuff on Broadway closing within like weeks or months of it opening, and I don't feel like, in my experience anyway, that happens as much on the West End. It's something that I'd like to discuss more in a video, potentially with someone else, like maybe Sean, because he is all knowledgeable, or also my friend Jake in New York, because obviously he's got the experience of watching Broadway and like noticing that sort of stuff, like when things just come and go so quickly. So that is a video that I want to make at some point. Actually, I'll tell you what, one musical that wasn't necessarily short, well, it did have a short life because it was only a short run. I think that's another thing that happens in London. We plan for shows to have a short run, but Lift the musical at the Soho Theatre, I would have loved that to have gone on for a bit longer because I think really it was only on for a month and a half, maybe 2 months max, I think, probably even less, and I would have loved that to have actually transferred from the Soho Theatre to somewhere else. And the last question from Late for the Overture is my opinion on the Great Comet mess. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you might not have seen that I was very sad to hear that Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812 is closing, because I'd actually booked tickets to see it on my trip to New York when I'm going in September, and I've now learnt from my mistakes. I'm never going to New York in September ever again because the Great Comet is closing, and also Bandstand is closing, and Amelie closed months ago. These are the shows that I wanted to see. Obviously I'd booked to see Great Comet already. I am heartbroken. It just sounds like something completely different to anything that I've seen before, especially considering that they have changed so much of the theatre itself, like the auditorium, for this show. And I think the whole experience, not only just watching the show, but being in the theatre, oh my goodness, it would have been amazing, and I'm so sad. Basically, if you don't know what's happened, the Great Comet originally had Josh Groban in the cast, who's obviously a big name. And then when he left the show, because it was the end of his contract, a guy who was in the original Hamilton cast but not in like the top principal cast, he took over. Obviously ticket sales fell just because he's not a massive name, which is just ridiculous, and that's a whole other gripe that I have. Again, I want to make a video about that. It's just how I need to structure it and do it. Obviously they needed to do something to keep the show going. They asked Mandy Patinkin, who is a big Broadway theatre name, to come in and do the role of Pierre. Because of his filming schedule, there was only a very specific time that he could come into the show, which cut Oak, the guy who took over from Josh Groban, cut his run in the show, and people kicked up saying it was a racist move from the company, like the producers of Great Comet, and because of this backlash, Mandy Patinkin withdrew from the show. Literally, it was like 1 hour it was announced that he was joining the show, and like less than a day later he withdrew, and obviously this drama, this controversy, it has meant the show has announced closure for the 3rd of September, I believe. And there's something about like the Labor Day weekend that's quite influential, I guess, into when Broadway shows close. I want to talk more with my friend Jake about this because I find that really interesting, because ages ago he was saying to me, he was like, well, we'll see what happens when Labor Day comes around, and I was like, what? Like, what? Why? What? And now it's kind of making sense, but obviously I'm really, really sad. So please, Broadway, can all the other shows stay open for when I am there? Thanks. The next questions are from Nicole, who I believe you used my Todaytix code the other day to see a show, and thank you very much. They have asked, have you ever seen a show stop? Yes, I have. Very recently, the one that I can remember is when Sean and I went to see An American in Paris. The show was stopped due to some audio issues, which we hadn't even really picked up on. So that was within like the first 15 minutes of the show starting. I feel like I have been at another show stop this year, and I was trying to rack my brains as to what it was, because I feel like Sean and I had seen another show recently that had a show stop as well, and I'm just going to quickly watch that vlog because I'm sure I would have mentioned it. We look so young in this vlog. It's so cute. It was only like, what, March? A few months ago? Maybe we hadn't. Maybe I'm making it up in my brain that we'd been at another show that had a show stop. But yeah, that's the most recent one that I've had. In my memory right now, I don't think I've ever been at like a big show stop. I've not been at, I don't think I have anyway, been at a show that's had to stop and then cancel. Maybe I have. From what I remember, I don't think I have. I could be lying to you there, sorry. The next question is there a book or film that you think would make for a good musical? I know recently, obviously from this year, a lot of people want La La Land to be an onstage musical. The more I think about La La Land, the more disappointed I am in it, and it makes me really sad. So I wouldn't love that to be a musical on stage. Random, but I'm excited for the Frozen musical because the artwork already for that looks insane, and I'm intrigued to see what they'll do with the story to make it obviously different for the stage show. What else? You can tell I didn't really have a lot of time to think about my answers for these questions. And I've seen a lot of stuff that I would say I'd like to see as a musical. I've already seen that on stage. I'm going to try and think about that one and maybe come back to it. The next question comes from Beatrice Hooper. I'm really sorry. I love your name, but I've just realised I'm not exactly sure on how to say it. Beatrice Hooper. I think that's right. And she's asking, what show has given you your best stage door experience to date? I don't stage door as often as I used to nowadays. When I started getting into theatre and I saw Wicked a lot, I would stage door a hell of a lot. Overall, my favourite memories would have come from being at the Wicked stage door. The one that pops into mind immediately is quite recently. It was at, was it Wicked's 10th anniversary show? It was whichever one where I managed to speak to Susie Mathers quickly. Susie Mathers, never know how to say her surname, but she is so lovely. And she turned around to me, it must have been the 10th anniversary because it was after the YouTube Space Wicked event. And she turned around to me like, oh, I watched your video. And I was like, okay. So that was really sweet. Also when I saw Wicked on Broadway, and that was when Rachel was Elphaba, and I had told her obviously that I was going to see the show, but I don't think I'd told her specifically like what day or anything. So when she came out the stage door and saw me, it was a nice surprise, and it was lovely to see her and like catch up then. That was really lovely. Other favourite stage door experiences? Another one to do with Rachel was her first show back in London when we surprised her with the party poppers. That was really cute. Oh man, I'm such a Wicked fangirl. I'm really excited to go back to see Wicked again soon. it's been a while. Yeah, I'd say those are probably my favourite recent ones. But yeah, most of them come from Wicked. The next question comes from Beth, and she has asked, I feel really old for not understanding what WYD means. I'm guessing it's would you something. So I'm going to say, would I rather see an opening performance or a closing performance? And this is such a good question because I've been at a lot of both. I've been at a lot of like first shows for cast, first shows for a show in general, and at a lot of closing ones for like cast changes or final performances. The first one that springs to mind would be We Will Rock You's final show. My friends and I got standing room tickets because it was like ridiculously expensive to sit, and then they announced they were doing standing room tickets, and even they were £33, which is just ridiculous, but it was so worth it. The atmosphere for that performance was insane. But at the same time, going to the first night of a show, like I did for Kinky Boots, which there's a vlog of, so I'll link it up here in the description, you can go watch it because it's a really fun vlog. That was amazing as well, like the atmosphere and the experience and the joy of being at the first night of a show. There's pros and cons for both, because when you go see the first performance and it's so exciting, and then you think, oh, this is the start of something new, and you've got the opportunity to like see it again, whereas obviously if you're at a closing performance, it's kind of bittersweet and sad in a way. It's the last show of that cast or the show in total, but then it's really special as well to say, oh yeah, I saw the last show. Like, I saw the last show of We Will Rock You in London. I think I'd probably say a closing performance. I think that would be my answer, because that is very special and you do feel quite honoured to be at the last show. The next questions come from Coralie, who is always watching my videos and leaving nice comments, so thank you very much. And she's asking, what are the 3 biggest mishaps you've seen at the theatre? So again, this is going to be from my Wicked experiences, because it's obviously the show I've seen the most, therefore I've seen the most of what's going on stage there. That was a weird way to word that. Probably one of my favourite ones that not many of the audience members would have noticed was way back in, I think it must have been 2012, when I was seeing Christopher Howell playing the Wizard. He was an understudy for the Wizard, and I can't remember exactly which Wizard scene it is. I think it's the final one when Elphaba comes back in Act 2, and the Oz head, so the big Oz head, is meant to obviously come from the back of the stage, and it moves forward, and then it does a turn, so then you see the back of it. It didn't turn, and obviously my friends and I that were watching it, we'd seen Wicked quite a lot at this point, and we were all like, oh my god, the Oz head, it hasn't turned, what are they gonna do? Because obviously he has to put the hat up and like lean the broom on it and pull the lever to release the monkeys and everything, and it went without a hitch. They didn't need to stop the show or anything. They managed it very well, but it was quite funny for us, the regulars, to be like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Obviously no one else in the audience probably would have noticed. The next one at Wicked was, I'm pretty sure it was a muck-up matinee anyway, so it was a cast change day, and in the matinee, as I've just said, a muck-up matinee, sometimes they do little off-book things just to make it funnier, basically. And what are they called? I guess the Oz heads, not the Oz heads. What are they called? The 3 crazy things that come on during one short day. I've totally forgotten what they're called now, but obviously there's people in the costumes, obviously, and there's a zip that goes all the way around the middle, so that's obviously how they get into the costumes, and then they zip up. And at their moment in One Short Day, obviously they ran on, I just said obviously so many times, I do apologise. They ran on, I was about to say it again, they ran on stage, and I think it was the middle one, I've totally forgotten, bobbleheads, the middle bobblehead. They ran on stage and they hadn't been zipped up properly. The bottom of their bobblehead was just at their ankles. And because it was a muck-up matinee, most of the people that were there and knew what was going on just found it absolutely hilarious, thinking like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. And it was only afterwards that I think I tweeted about it, and a cast member tweeted me saying like, yeah, that wasn't meant to happen. That was actually like a total genuine mishap and could have been quite dangerous, and I felt really bad about laughing about it. But it was so funny. 3. I don't want to just keep talking about Wicked, but most of my theatre experiences come from Wicked. I'm really trying to think of another one, not Wicked, and I can't really, so I might just have to go for another Wicked one, which I'm sure you'll enjoy still. I mean, this one's just a bit silly, but I remember one time when watching Wicked, it was Gina Beck playing Glinda, and it was during Popular, like as she was building up to Popular, there was a fly that just would not leave her alone. Like it kept on going into her wig, and it was quite a big fly, and I was sat on the front row, so you could just tell, like you could just see that she was trying to like flick it off and be in character but try and get rid of it. And she managed to get through the whole song regardless. Like it was really distracting for her, you could tell. But yeah, that's another, not really a mishap, but just a funny thing that I remember. Coralie's also asked if you could play any role possible on stage, which would you pick? Oh my gosh, such a hard question. I feel like default I always go to Alphaba because I'd love to go in the Defying Gravity lift, not gonna lie. And also, obviously, she does get amazing songs. I wouldn't like to be painting green every day. God, my skin's bad enough as it is. That would be horrible. I'm not sure if I could be mean enough, but I can imagine being the Trunchbull would be quite fun. That would be quite cool. And another thing I've always said, that if I were ever talented enough to be in a show, I'd probably just like to be in the ensemble, because, I mean, it's a lot more work. A lot more work in different ways for the ensemble, and it depends on the show obviously, but yeah, I think the ensemble get to have more fun in general on and off stage, and also just like working in a team and knowing that like everyone's got your back. I think being a principal character must be so daunting sometimes, and also quite lonely. So yeah, if I had the choice, I'd probably rather just be in the ensemble. The next question is from Cameron, and he said, I've asked this question to many Wicked fans. Have you ever watched a no-fly show at Wicked? No, I haven't, and I would absolutely love to, but I can imagine just how stressful it would be for the person playing Elphaba. So as much as I would love to see it, I don't like the thought of wishing that stress on them, and I'm sure they must go through the procedures for like the plan B. And I'm shocked that in all the time I've seen Wicked, I've not seen a no-fly show. As I say, I would love to, but at the same time, I don't want them to be stressed. I want them to be okay. The next question is from Luke, and he said, besides Wicked, which show was the highlight of your theatre life? Sorry, I just got my words mixed up. The highlight of my theatre life. As I've already mentioned, the closing show of We Will Rock You, that was insane. Also, the opening show of Kinky Boots, that was also amazing. Apart from that, that's such a hard question. Like, of my entire theatre life, the highlight? Oh my god. Why you gotta make this so hard? Why? Okay, so if it's not Wicked, I would definitely say the closing show of We Will Rock You, the first show of Kinky Boots, and also the first time that I saw Matilda the musical, because I was on the front row. I saw it with my mum, and it's just always a really special like memory for me. I loved Matilda when I was growing up, so to finally see it on stage, be on the front row, be with my mum, all together, it was one of the favourite shows I've ever been to, and it's still one of my favourite shows, and I cannot wait to see it again soon because I haven't been in ages. I've got a few questions from Claire. She is asking, which musical would you like to bring over from Broadway to the West End, and also what musical would you like to return back to the West End that we have lost? So musical that I'd like to have back, I'd probably say Ghost, but how they did it before, not the recent UK tour by all reports. Ghost is immediately one that comes to mind that I miss. Also Legally Blonde, we are definitely due that being back in the West End, and it's such a fun show, I feel like we need it. And which musical would I like to bring over from Broadway? Well, Next to Normal wasn't on Broadway, I think it was just off Broadway, but I really would love to see Next to Normal, and I am shocked that it's not been in London, like ever, I don't think. So Next to Normal, I want to see that. It's so hard because I would love to just see some new stuff in the West End. I feel like it's always jukeboxes or Broadway imports, which is fine. Obviously it keeps the industry alive, but I guess I would like to prioritise having new stuff first. Saying that, I would really like Newsies to finally come over because that's been rumoured for a long time. Obviously I'm excited about Hamilton coming, but yeah, Next to Normal, I'm desperate to see that. The next questions from Amanda are one that I've already answered. If you could be in the West End, which character would you love to play? And also, what is your least favourite musical and why? So my least favourite musical that I've seen would probably be Exposure, that I saw at the St James Theatre last summer, which is now the Other Palace. I did not like that. Most recently, Bat Out of Hell would probably go on that list as well. And also, I've not seen it, so I don't think I can like put it at the least favourite musicals, but because of like what it is, Thriller, the musical, I don't really have any interest in seeing it. I feel like I probably should see it just so I feel like I can have a valid opinion on it, but it mainly just annoys me because where I work, I serve a lot of tourists who buy theatre tickets, and they never want to go for something that's either like new and British or both, or just something different. They just want to go for the big shows because they want to brag about what they've seen when they go home. And I know it keeps the industry alive in a way because if there's money going in, then that's great, but I just feel like Thriller should go. Good. James is asking, we all know you love theatre. Have you ever been in a musical / play? Yes, I did a little production of Annie with like a local theatre group. This was years ago, 2012 I think it was. And also if you watched my recent On West End Stages video, there's a little story in there. I'll link it up here or here. Up here I think, for you to go and watch that so I won't spoil the story. Yes, I have very technically been in a West End show, and you can go find out about that in the video. Lucas is asking, have you ever seen a show in a foreign language? And no, I'm pretty sure I have not, but I've spoken to Lucas about this before because I would love to see a show that I know in another language, so in another country, because I feel like if I go and see a show that I don't know and I see it in another language, there's not really much hope of me enjoying it not enjoying it to the full anyway if I can't understand the story. Whereas if I see something that I know and already enjoy and just see it in another language, then I can focus more on like how they're doing everything and how it sounds in the other language rather than trying to figure out what the hell is actually going on in the story. So no, not yet, but it's on my bucket list and I want to make it happen like in the next year. Lucas is also asking, do you think the West End needs playbills? There's been a lot of talk about this recently and I get it, but I don't. There's obviously a reason why we don't have something like playbills, and it's probably down to money because that's what everything is down to. I feel like for most theatres, they just need to make their cast board a lot more noticeable. I mentioned in literally my last vlog, which was of seeing Evita, that as far as I could see, there was not a cast board, and I don't think there has been for the last few productions that I've seen at this theatre, and that is really annoying because some people just won't want to buy a programme to find out who is on, and especially for Evita, the information for the cast wasn't easy to access online. So that really annoys me because I think performers should be credited for the work they are doing, and I think that people should go to the theatre knowing who's on. There's obviously a money issue as to why we don't have playbills, and I miss physical cast boards. I know it's so much easier to have digital ones, have like screens in the foyer, but oftentimes they're not the most noticeable of things and people don't pay attention to them. So if you're not gonna have a like easy to see cast board in the foyer or whatever, God, at least have it like online on your website. And also I wish that they would do a little announcement before the shows if there is an understudy on, just to say, because I think a lot of people walk away and they don't realise that they've seen an understudy, and I don't know, that just annoys me. I don't think we need playbills, I just think more needs to be done about the awareness of who you're seeing at a show, who's covering roles and things like that, because performers deserve that recognition. That's my spiel done. Nathaniel is asking what my first ever West End show was, and that was The Lion King. I loved the film when I was a kid, and I was very excited to finally go and see it on the West End. I remember watching the VHS when I was a kid, and it had an advert for the musical, and I was like, oh my god, I want to see it, can we go? And then like 12 years later we finally did. Grace is asking as well what my least favourite shows are. Already got you covered there, Grace. And also she's asking, have I got any shows coming up? And of course I have. It wouldn't be me if I didn't have shows coming up. I don't like to say in like videos and social media. I feel like it's quite nice to keep you guys in suspense of what's coming up on the channel. I know that sounds stupid, you probably don't care, but yes, I do have a couple of West End shows coming up. I'm going to see a show in Milton Keynes in September, and then after that I am going to America, so I'm obviously seeing some stuff in New York, which everything is going to be vlogged. And then I've got, yeah, actually quite a lot of stuff booked at the moment. I'm not one of these people that book shows really far in advance, but things like Hamilton, that's obviously happening in December, I'm seeing that, but hopefully sooner. Also Fun Home I've booked for next June, which is ridiculous. So yeah, there's always something in the works or something booked. I think that's everything. Okay, we've got one last question, and that's from Rachel. She's asking, what's your favourite lyric from a musical and why? I mean, I didn't exactly pick an easy question to finish on. I mean, obviously the first one that comes to mind is from Wicked. I'm just wicked trash, sorry. It's from Defying Gravity, and it's the line, I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game, because I feel like that's a good strong lyric. Yeah, that's it. No, I think the song as a whole is great, obviously, but that line in particular, it's such a turning point for the character of Elphaba, and I love seeing how different people like perform that specific line and how they sing it, and it's like, yeah, I'm done with being the person that you want me to be. I'm going to be myself. And I think I mean, obviously there are certain rules of like society and life that you have to follow, but when people have all these expectations of you and things like that, if it's too much pressure on you, you've just got to be yourself. You've got to do what's right for you and follow your own path. And when did I get so like motivational speech? But yeah, it's a great lyric. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Yeah, cool. First ever Q&A, done. Let's check if anyone else has asked some questions. I feel like I've missed some out, but obviously some of you are on the same wavelength with asking similar questions. Thank you so much if you sent a question to me. I really appreciate it, because obviously couldn't do a Q&A without you guys. I'll probably leave it a little while now until I do another Q&A, because it'd be a bit silly to do ones so close. Maybe I'll do some after I've gone to America, if you've got some like Broadway related questions, etc. to throw at me, that would be quite fun. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone that sent in questions. Do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you've got any other questions that you want to ask me, just let me know down in the comments below. Maybe I can save them for the next Q&A video, or if you want I can answer them in the comments. You just let me know. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I answered your question. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss any out, so yeah, again, let me know if I did and I'll answer it in the comments for you. If you aren't subscribed to my channel and you love theatre, you really should subscribe to my channel. It will make your life better, I promise. I hope you're all doing really, really well, and I will see you very soon. Bye!